3 men just walked into my bedroom. I'm asleep when it happens. Black armor, drawn swords, eyes glowing red under their hoods. And I'm 20 years old, lying in bed, completely unarmed. Holy hell, this is how I die. Not on a battlefield, not in a duel, in my sleep, like a dog. Yesterday, I broke a curse that was crushing me my entire life. Today, I made a contract with a god. Tonight, I learned what real power feels like for the first time, and now, 6 hours later, I'm bleeding out on my own mattress. The leader leans down close to my face. He smells like iron and burnt cloth. Sleep well, disgrace, he whispers. Disgrace. That's what they called me my entire life. The Runkendells, my own family, 13 children, 12 geniuses, and me, the kid who couldn't lift a sword without dropping it, the kid whose talent index came back blank. The kid they shipped off to a frozen castle so nobody would have to look at him. And now, apparently, someone hired killers to make sure I never came back. My eyes are wide open under my eyelids. My body won't move. Some kind of paralysis poison in the wine I drank tonight. I can hear my own heart slowing down. I can feel the blood pooling against my ribs. And the worst part, I just got strong. Like, actually strong. Curse broken, God contracted, sword magic strong. One more day. I just needed one more day. I would have torn this entire family apart. Instead, I die before sunrise. My vision goes black at the edges. The leader straightens up and walks out. 3 sets of footsteps, a door closing, and then nothing. Or so I thought. Then I open my eyes again, and I'm somewhere else entirely. Bare feet, warm grass under my toes, a field stretching to the horizon. Not flowers, not wheat, swords. Thousands of them, planted blade down in the dirt like grave markers. And every single one of them is glowing. What is this place? I try to say. Nothing comes out, because the giant sword in front of me is answering before I can ask. Its name carves itself into my skull. Barasada. The first sword. The sword that made all other swords possible. And it's looking at me, or judging me. Hard to tell with a sword. A woman stands beside it. Brown hair, soft smile, the kind of face you remember from some place you can't name. You took up the sword by accident in your previous life, she says. Previous life. Wait, what? You died young, you died scared, you died with nothing. She crouches down so her eyes are level with mine. Would you like to make a different choice this time? I look down at my own hands. They're small, baby small, and I realize I'm not the man dying in that bed anymore. I'm someone else. Someone newer, someone who hasn't been born yet. I will make my own choice, I tell her. She smiles like she already knew, and the field goes white. I open my eyes a third time. This time I'm screaming, because someone is holding me up by my armpits and the air is freezing. Newborn, crib, stone ceiling, and a voice somewhere above me, cold and bored. Move the youngest to the storm castle. Storm castle, the Runkandel family's polite name for exile. The place they ship the kids they don't want anyone to see. Specifically me. My name in this life is Jin Runkandel. 13th child, last in line. And before I've even learned to chew solid food, my own family has decided I'm a problem to be hidden. Great. Just great. Here's what I remember from being dead. The world is run by sword families. And Runkandel sits on top of the pyramid. They've ruled with overwhelming prowess for centuries. 3 things describe them: power, pride, and no patience for weakness. In my last life, I heard about them like everyone else. Whispers, legends, nightmares. Now, apparently I am one. Sort of, because there's a problem, a small one the size of a curse. My talent for swords in this body, 0. Not low, not bad. 0. In a family where babies are tested with golden swords at age 3, this is a death sentence. So they hide me away in a tower in the middle of nowhere, and they wait to see if I'll quietly die. Big mistake. Now, I should pause here and tell you something. In my previous life, I lived this exact childhood once already. Disgrace status, storm castle, the whole package. My past life self was a loyal idiot. He believed if he just worked hard enough, his family would love him. He took the beatings, he took the lectures, he took the older brothers smiling while they broke his ribs in training. Every night he told himself the same thing. If I work hard, I'll be a real Runkindell. They'll see I have talent. They'll let me in. Then he was 20. Then he was dead, killed in his sleep. So that's the deal. I'm not making that mistake again. Now, back to being 6 years old. The tower they sent me to is called Storm Castle for a reason. It snows 9 months a year. The walls are stone. The wind sounds like a dying animal. And the only entertainment for a kid trapped here is reading. So I read. I read every book in the family library, sword theory, mana theory, bloodline magic, mostly to remember what I already knew from the previous life, mostly to figure out what the hell that curse on my body actually is. My nanny calls me a strange child. She thinks I read too much. She thinks I should play outside. She brings me soup and asks if I'm lonely. I tell her I'm fine. I don't tell her that the last time I trusted a Runkindell servant, they served me wine with poison in it. And then one morning when I'm 7, my brothers show up, 2 of them. The Tona twins, white-haired, grinning, exactly the age where cruelty starts feeling fun. They walk in like they own the place, because technically they do. Are you moved to tears, little brother? That's the first thing they say to me. Not hello, not even my name. Brothers, one of them adds, smiling. That's what we are, brothers. In my previous life, this is the scene where I cried, where I begged, where I told them I'd be better. This time, I just stand there. I let them get close. I let them put their hands on my shoulders. I let one of them lift me by the collar like I'm a sack. And then I open my mouth. Shut the hell up. Their faces freeze. 7-year-olds don't talk like that, especially not the family disgrace. Especially not to them. The closer twin laughs. Did you just... I grab his wrist, and I let a little bit of Salderay through. Just a touch. A whisper of shadow under my skin. His hand snaps backward at an angle hands aren't supposed to go. He screams. The other twin lunges at me. I'm a foot shorter than him. I don't move. I just step inside his swing, plant my fist on his chest, and push. He goes through the wall. Like through it. Stone, plaster, the painting of our great-grandfather, everything. My nanny walks in 2 minutes later, carrying a plate of cookies. She sees the twin in the rubble. She sees the other twin clutching a wrist that bends the wrong way. She sees me calmly returning to my book. She does not drop the cookies. I respect her for that. She just sets the plate down, looks at the chaos, and quietly closes the door behind her. Bless that woman. The twins are gone within an hour. Servants drag them off in litters, half-conscious, whispering to each other. They will not be coming back to Storm Castle. In my previous life, this was where I learn my place. This time, it's where they learn theirs. Word reaches the main estate by sundown. The youngest disgrace just hospitalized the Tona twins with his bare hands. The disgrace who couldn't lift a wooden sword 3 years ago. Something has changed at Storm Castle, and someone wants to come check. Which brings me to my favorite older sister, and the phoenix's heart she's about to drop in my lap. Mary Runkindell arrives in a carriage 3 days later. She's 20-something, beautiful, dressed like she's going to a ball. She's also smiling, which terrifies the servants. Mary doesn't smile. Mary smiles before something gets stabbed. Her official title is Runkindell of the Southern Region. Her unofficial title? The Mad Woman of the Southern Region. She walks into my study, drops a velvet pouch on my desk, and grins. For my favorite little brother. I open the pouch. Inside it is a small, glowing, deep red sphere. Heat radiates off it like a fireplace. I know exactly what it is. Phoenix's heart, one of the most expensive natural elixirs in the world. The kind nobles fight wars to own. The kind you absolutely do not give to a 7-year-old. Mary, I say slowly, this is a phoenix's heart. It is, she agrees way too cheerfully. You're insane. Hurry up and get strong, she says, ruffling my hair. You're more interesting than the others. And just like that, she's gone again, off to slaughter some kingdom or other. Now, the smart thing would have been to refine the elixir over months, to take small doses, to consult an expert. I do not do the smart thing. I swallow the entire phoenix's heart that night, because my body has a curse immunity contract. because Solderit's power eats through anything that tries to burn me, because I have things to do and I'm tired of being 7. The heart hits my chest like a small sun being lit inside me. I cough fire for an hour. My nanny prays loudly outside my door, and when the sun comes up, I'm something different, faster, stronger, hotter, hungrier. My mana pool has tripled, and I can hear something in the basement of Stormcastle that I couldn't hear before. Something breathing, something old. There's a part of Stormcastle no one talks about. A door at the bottom of the South Tower that's always locked. In my previous life, I never made it past that door. I was too weak, too scared. This time, I have shadow magic and a head full of stolen knowledge. So tonight, I'm picking that lock. I wait until my nanny goes to bed. I pull on a black cloak. I tuck a notebook under my arm, and I walk downstairs that don't appear on any map. The hallway smells like dust and old metal. Blue dust drips from the ceiling. Magical residue, hundreds of years old. At the end of the hall, there's a single door, Runkendel's secret storage. This is where my ancestors hid the things they couldn't kill, the things even Runkendel was afraid of. I should not be here. I'm definitely going inside anyway. The door opens on a chamber the size of a cathedral, and in the center of it, in a pod of glowing blue liquid the size of a small house, something is sleeping. Something coiled, something with scales, something that has been asleep for a very, very long time. I take a step closer. The blue liquid begins to ripple. 2 enormous eyes open inside the pod, and they are not the eyes of anything that should be alive. Oh no. Who? A voice rumbles inside my head. Not from the pod. From everywhere. Walls vibrating, stone dust falling, my bones humming. Who dares? I should be terrified. I am terrified. And yet, there's one specific name floating in my head that the voice keeps reaching for. A name only one entity in the world would care about. So I clear my throat and try not to die. I have a promise, I say, with Solderet. The pod stops glowing. The eyes inside it widen, and then a very different voice, much calmer, much closer, says, "Well, that changes things." The dragon's eyes settle on me, and it speaks again, softer this time, almost amused. Solderet's representative, last descendant of the first being created from shadows. Yeah, that's me, apparently. According to the 1,000-year contract, the voice continues, I am bound to you. From this moment onward. Wait, bound to me? Until the end of your life, the dragon adds, almost cheerful now. Hold on. I came down here to look at old swords. Who exactly are you? I ask. The pod shatters. Liquid floods the floor. Steam fills the chamber. And from inside, something colossal uncoils. Black scales, wings the size of warships. Teeth I can fit my whole body inside. Black Dragon Murakan, the voice says. Murakan. That name lives in the history books. As the dragon, Runkendel's founder, fought to a standstill 1,000 years ago. The dragon Tamar Runkendel personally chained beneath Stormcastle when his power got too dangerous. And now, apparently, he is my pet. I am not a pet, Murakan replies in my head. Right, sorry. I am the strongest dragon to have ever lived. Sure, yeah. And I am extremely hungry. This dragon has been chained under my family's worst tower for 10 centuries, and the first being he meets after escape is a 7-year-old with snacks in his pockets, which I now realize is fortunate. Listen, I tell him. I have a plan. Speak, rumbles the dragon. My father is the patriarch of Runkendel. He sealed your master. And in a few years, when I'm strong enough, I'm going to challenge him. I want you to help me. Murakan is silent for a long moment. Then he laughs. It's not a comforting laugh. Boy, he says, I like you. We're going to do horrible things together. From that night on, my life at Stormcastle changes. Murakan can't leave the chamber yet, not in his real form. The chains are gone, but the binding spell still drags on his power. So he stays down there, coiled in the dark, watching, teaching. I come down every night, I bring snacks, he pretends not to like them, he eats all of them. I practice swordsmanship with a wooden blade against tendrils made of pure shadow. It is a humbling experience. Most nights I go back to bed with bruises shaped like dragon tails. But I'm learning faster than anything alive should learn. Because I already know how to be Cheon Dawoon. That was the name of my previous life. The accidental swordsman who died young. Cheon Da-woon's instincts are mine. His muscle memory lives somewhere under my skin, and now I'm adding magic to it. Real magic. Bloodline magic. Run candle tear magic. Years pass. By the time I'm 10, I can manifest the dark aura without lifting a finger. I can crack solid stone with one strike. I can fight Murakon to a draw on his bad nights. And one morning, my nanny knocks on my door, eyes shining. "My lord," she says, "your father is coming." My father. The Runkandel patriarch, the man who sealed Murakon 1,000 years ago. Just to clarify. Yes, 1,000 years. He's not a normal human. None of them are. He's coming personally to see what the disgrace has become. Murakon, when I tell him, grins his enormous toothy grin. "Are you ready?" he asks. "No." "Good. Stay scared. It keeps you sharp." 2 days later, the largest army I've ever seen marches into Storm Castle. 7 flag bearers, 200 knights. The full procession, they line up in the courtyard like a wedding. And at the back, my father steps off his horse. Tall, black hair, eyes like the inside of a cracked star. Father has arrived. I have never met him before. Not in this life. Not in the last one. In my previous life, he never bothered to meet the disgrace at all. In this life, apparently I've gotten his attention. I walk into the grand hall in formal Runkandel armor that doesn't quite fit. Mary Runkandel is there. Luna is there. Diffus is there. All my older siblings packed in like guests at a court hearing. And on the dais at the top of the stairs, sitting on a chair carved from black ironwood, is the man himself. "Pause, my sons," the patriarch says. "Etch this into your hearts." He stands up, and the entire hall goes silent. Why does Runkandel rule the world? Nobody answers. They know better than to answer. "Because," he says, "the power of Soldaret is the power of our founder. It is the God that has been with us since the beginning. And Soldaret has not appeared in our line for 1,000 years." He turns his head, slow as a glacier. Black eyes lock onto me. Until now. Holy hell, he knows. Of course he knows. The man can probably smell shadow magic. "Step forward, youngest," he says. I step forward. "Show me." So I show him. I let the contract pulse under my skin until my eyes turn dragon black, until my shadow stretches 3 times its normal size against the wall, until the air in the hall drops 10 degrees. The patriarch does not flinch. The patriarch smiles. It's the worst smile I've ever seen. "I think," he says quietly, "that coming to see you today was a good decision." He walks down the stairs. He places a hand on my head. And for one long moment, I feel like a god is petting a dog. Then he addresses the room. "My youngest son carries Soldaret's mark." The line of succession remains open. The hall does not breathe. Diffus, my eldest brother, has gone completely white. Mary is grinning like she's been waiting years for this exact moment. Luna is staring at me with eyes I cannot read. My father pats my head one more time. "Don't disappoint me," he says. "I won't," I answer. He believes me, which is somehow the most frightening thing he's done all day. Because in this family, "don't disappoint me" means win the succession war or die trying. And there are 12 other Runkandel children ahead of me. Most of them are stronger. Most of them are older. All of them are now my enemies. The patriarch walks back up the stairs, and just like that, the audience is over. My family files out without a single one of them speaking to me. Except Mary, who passes me, leans down and whispers in my ear, "Get strong faster. They're going to start killing you now." Yeah, I know. The next visitor arrives 2 weeks later. No army, no procession, no announcement. Just a single figure walking through the snow at sunset. White cloak, white hair, purple eyes. My sister Luna Runkandel, first flag bearer of Runkandel, strongest of all my siblings, known by anyone who's ever survived a fight with her as the White Whale. She stepped out of the succession war years ago. She wants nothing to do with our family politics, which is exactly why I am stunned to find her at my door. She walks past me into my study without saying hello. She sits down in my chair. She looks at me for a long time, like she's trying to recognize me. Then she says, "Are you feeling unwell?" "No," I answer carefully. "Are you sleeping?" "Yes." "Has anything strange happened to you in the last month?" Define strange. I evaluated a 1,000-year-old chained dragon as a pet candidate this month. I cannot tell her that. "Nothing strange," I say. Luna studies me. Then she pulls something out of her cloak, a small pendant, blue stone. Faint glow, she slides it across the desk to me. Wear this, she says. Always. What does it do? It keeps you alive, she says, like that's a normal sentence. Then she leans forward. Listen carefully, little brother. The moment you leave Storm Castle, they will try to kill you. Who? I ask. Luna looks at me like the question is funny. Our siblings, she says simply. Of course it's the siblings. Some of them will hire mercenaries. Some will use Zipple magicians. Some will try to make it look like an accident. And some, she says quietly, will use Kinzello. That name lands in my chest like a stone. Kinzello, the terrorist organization. The ones the world calls a revolutionary group, but which is mostly just a collection of killers for hire. The ones who, in my previous life, sent 3 armored knights into my bedroom at 20 years old. The ones who killed me. Luna sees something in my face and pauses. Why? I ask her. And my voice is not steady. Why didn't you warn me in my previous life? Her purple eyes widen, slow. She doesn't ask what I mean by previous life. She just looks at me, long, quiet. Then she stands up. She kneels in front of my chair until our faces are level. She hugs me. She does not say anything. She just holds me for what feels like a long time. Then she straightens up, wipes nothing off her eyes, and walks to the door. Wear the pendant, she says again, without turning around. And then she's gone. 2 months later, I am 10 years old, and the orders come down from the main estate. Bring the youngest to the main castle. He's been hidden long enough. Storm Castle's gates open for me at dawn. 3 carriages, 2 horses each. 2 armored knights stand at the front gate waiting to meet me. 7-star guardian knights Jerome and Holtz, my nanny tells me, beaming. 7 stars. The kind of rank kingdoms reserved for protecting royalty. My father is taking my safety seriously. And then a tall man steps out from behind them. Black hair, sharp eyes, holding a black staff with a dragon carved into the head. And me, of course, he says. I blink. Sir Murakan, the knights say respectfully. Murakan in human form. He is chosen, evidently, to be tall, irritatingly handsome, and just slightly smug. Transformation is something dragons are good at, he tells me in my head. You look like a model, I tell him out loud. Yes, he agrees. My nanny presses a packet of biscuits into my hand. She kisses me on the forehead. She does not cry, which I respect more than anything. We pull out of the Storm Castle gates as the sun climbs over the mountains, and for the first time in 10 years, I am leaving the place that raised me. 2 days into the journey, the carriage suddenly stops. Holtz pulls the curtain back. His face is set. Stay inside, my lord. What is it? Jerome is already drawing his sword. Outside, in the snow, hooded figures begin emerging from the tree line. A lot of them. The horses panic. Murakan steps out of the carriage with his staff held loosely, and then, just as Luna predicted, the trap closes. The lead figure raises a hand. Glowing red eyes under the hood. Hand over the youngest Runkindel, he calls out, and we will let your knights live. Big mistake. Jerome and Holtz exchange one look. Then both of them are gone, blurring across the snow. Murakan tilts his head, almost bored. I have not stretched in 1,000 years, he says, and then he stretches. A wave of pure darkness erupts from his shoulders. 3 of the hooded attackers are simply gone, like someone erased them from a page. Holy hell, I knew Murakan was strong. Watching him work is different. It's like watching gravity get angry. Jerome takes the right flank with paired short swords. He moves like water with edges. Holtz takes the left flank with a single greatsword, almost as long as he is tall. He moves like a slow avalanche that keeps catching up to you anyway. The hooded leader sees the rest of his men dying. His glowing red eyes lock onto the carriage, onto me. Praise the great, he screams, and he charges directly through Jerome and Holtz, past Murakan. He's fast. Star rank fast, faster than anything a 10-year-old should fight. My carriage door flies open, and he's there, sword raised, eyes burning. I pull Bradamante, or rather, I pull the training sword I have at 10 years old, which is decidedly not Bradamante yet. I block. Sparks fly. Bone aches. He's 3 times my size, and his strike sends me back into the seat. And then a flash of white cuts past my window. A streak of white hair. A purple flash. And suddenly the assassin's arm is on the floor of my carriage, not attached to him anymore. Luna lands in the snow next to the carriage like she's been waiting in the trees this whole time, because she has been. Her white cloak is pristine. Her sword is so clean, I can see my reflection in it. She didn't even bother to actually engage. One pass, one arm. "Hello, little brother," she says, without looking at me. The assassin screams. Luna walks across the snow toward him, slowly. "You were going to harm a Runkindel," she says. "Stop, please," he gasps. "I do not care for begging. I have a message for whoever sent you," she continues, raising her sword. "It is this." She brings the sword down. There is no second message. She turns back to the carriage, sheathing her blade in one fluid motion. "Are you injured?" she asks me. I shake my head. "Good. Murakhan?" Murakhan inclines his head respectfully. "Lady Luna." She knows, of course she knows. Luna probably knew about Murakhan 20 years ago. "You diverted them well," she says to Jerome and Holtz. "I was able to escape attention because of you." Then to me. "The pendant." I lift the chain from under my collar. The blue stone is glowing softly. "It activated the moment they tried to harm you," she explains. "It sent me coordinates." Luna built me a magic tracker. A magic tracker. Like an older sibling AirTag with murder, I have never loved anyone more. "Continue to the main estate," she says. "I will follow at a distance. From now on, I am your shadow." Then, without waiting for an answer, she walks back into the snow and vanishes. And just like that, I have a 7-star bodyguard, a dragon, 2 knights, and a pendant, which I'm going to need. Because the main estate is where the real war begins. 3 more days of travel, no more ambushes. Whoever sent the first wave probably heard what happened to it. They're regrouping. Good. I want them regrouping. Murakhan rides next to me in the carriage now, fully human-formed. He has discovered tea and is suspicious of it. "This is bitter water," he says. "It's tea. Why would anyone choose to drink bitter water? It's a long civilizational story." He sniffs the cup, he sips, he scowls. "I will allow this," he announces grandly. Halfway through the next morning, the carriage crests a hill, and for the first time in this life, I see it. Runkindel's main estate, 3 castles connected by gardens, towers like teeth, stone the color of bone, and ringing the entire complex, planted blade down into the earth, are thousands upon thousands of glowing swords, the Garden of Swords. Every great swordsman in our family history has a sword planted here. It is supposedly the largest grave in the world, including somewhere on these grounds the place where my previous life self should have been buried, but isn't, because in this life I am inconveniently alive. The carriage pulls up to the front steps. My siblings are waiting, all 11 of them, standing in formal armor in 2 rows like a wedding party that wants to kill the groom. Rosa Runkindel, 3rd oldest, smiles politely. Dyfus, the eldest brother, does not. Mary winks at me from the back row. Luna is not visible. She's somewhere on the rooftops, doing whatever Luna does. My father stands on the top step. "Welcome home, my son," he says. Home. This is the home I have never lived in, filled with the family that, in my last life, mourned for an hour and then forgot I existed. "Thank you, Father," I say. Bow. I bow. The siblings bow with me mechanically. And just like that, I am inside. Inside the Runkindel main estate. Inside the snake pit. In my previous life, I lived in this place for 2 years before they sent me back to die. This time, I plan to stay and run the place, eventually. 4 years pass now. It's the summer of 1794, and I am 14 years old. My height has caught up to most of my cousins. My voice has dropped. My patience has not improved. In 4 years, 3 more assassination attempts have come and gone, each less successful than the last. I am no longer the disgrace. I am officially a Runkindel cadet. And cadet training in this family is not the same as cadet training anywhere else. We train with live blades. We fight in the Garden of Swords at dawn. We are graded weekly, and every 6 months, the bottom-ranked cadets are quietly dismissed. Dismissed in this family means a number of things. Mostly it means you go home and pretend you were never born. Sometimes it means worse. I share a dormitory with 2 other cadets. One is Belop Schmitz, a noble kid who eats with all the dignity of a starving raccoon. He is also one of the only friends I have managed to make in this family. The other is a girl named Mesa Milcano. Pink hair, bright green eyes, a scowl that could pierce armor. Distant cousin, adopted into the family for talent. Most importantly, she is the top of our cadet class, or rather, she was, until I showed up. Mesa hates me. She hates that I started 2 years late and outranked her in 3 months. She hates that I never seem tired. She hates that I look at her sometimes like I already know how she fights. In her defense, I do know how she fights. I fought a girl exactly like her in my previous life, and won, mostly. Every morning, we spar. Every morning, she swings harder than the morning before. Every morning, I block her with one hand and tell her she's improving. Every morning, she promises to kill me on the spot. It's a healthy friendship. This morning, however, is different because Father has summoned all the cadets to the Garden of Swords. And he doesn't summon anyone for fun. We line up in formal armor in the grass between the planted blades. My breath fogs in the cold air. Mesa stands next to me, gripping her wooden sword too tightly. Belop is doing his best impression of someone who is not about to vomit from nerves. And on the dais, my father waits. "Cadets!" he calls out. "Today we begin the hierarchy battle." Hierarchy battle. The first time in Runkendell cadet history this rank is being challenged. And from the smirk under his beard, I can guess exactly which cadet he's testing. Me. Of course, the hierarchy battle works like this. Cadets challenge cadets in single combat. Winner takes loser's rank. Loser drops by 1. Anyone can challenge anyone above them. And the patriarch watches every fight himself. Mesa, standing next to me, breathes out a slow, hot breath. "I challenge Jin Runkendell," she announces. Of course she does. I'm currently ranked top of the class. She's ranked second. She has wanted to do this since the day I joined. "Accepted," I say. My father, on the dais, smiles. Murakhan, in cat form, suddenly drops out of nowhere and lands on my shoulder. Wait, I should mention this. Murakhan now spends most of his time as a black cat. Apparently, it amuses him. Apparently, he likes naps. Apparently, I cannot stop him. "Don't kill her," the cat whispers as I walk into the ring. "I wasn't planning to," I whisper back. "Don't break her either. We need her to like you eventually." "Why would I need her to like me?" "Strategic reasons. Mainly, she'll be useful." Mesa steps into the ring. She unsheathes her sword. And she lunges. Mesa is fast. Mesa is good. Mesa is, on the scale of our entire cadet class, the second best sword fighter. Mesa is also about to learn what 1,000-year-old dragon teaches a child for fun on weekends. I block her opening strike. I redirect her second. I trip her on her third. She comes back at me with a fury I've only seen in adult killers. I let her. And for 30 seconds, I let her think she's winning. Then I step inside her guard, plant the flat of my blade against her sternum, and breathe out. The shadow of Solderette leaks from under my collar. Just a wisp, just an answer. The wisp hits the ground around her boots, and the entire field of grass within 6 feet of us goes black. The Garden of Swords falls silent. Mesa freezes. Every cadet on the field freezes. Even Father, on the dais, leans forward. "Yield," I tell her quietly. Mesa stares at me. Her pink hair is whipping in the wind, but her eyes are steady. "Yield," I say again. "I don't want to hurt you." She drops her sword. "I yield," she says, voice tight. And then, before I can step back, she lunges forward and punches me in the chest, hard. Mesa Milcano is many things. She is not a graceful loser. She storms off the field. She does not speak to me for 3 days. Bellup says she's been training alone in the deep yard, sword on stone, for 10 hours a day, sharpening her edge. I don't blame her. My father, predictably, summons me. I walk into his study with Murakhan cat draped over my shoulder. Father is at his desk. There is a long, narrow box on it. "Sit," he says. I sit. He pushes the box across the desk to me. "Open it." I open it, and the air in the room changes. Inside the box is a sword, not a normal sword. A sword that, even resting in velvet, hums with enough energy to make my teeth ache. The hilt is dark wood. The blade is alive with light. I know its name before I touch it. "Bradamante," I breathe. Father smiles thinly. "You recognize her." "I read about her." "That is not true. There are no books about Bradamante." "Right." Father is watching me carefully. "I dreamed about her," I lie. He doesn't believe me. He does not, however, push it. "She is yours," he says. "Treat her like she is alive." I pick up Bradamante. She fits in my hand like she was made for it. Maybe she was. Maybe in some previous version of this world, she was forged for the boy I used to be. Maybe that's why I died young, because nobody put this sword in my hand in time. Now she's mine. Father stands. You leave at dawn, he tells me. Leave? For the southern border. Mary requested you for her squadron. Of course Mary did. There is a beastman incursion in the Watertail region. You will assist in pacification. Assist, in my family, means lead and don't disappoint. Understood, I say. He looks at me for a long moment. Don't die out there, Jin. Strange. In all my previous life, my father never once said my name. Things are different now. I leave at dawn. Mary's squadron is waiting at the southern border 3 days later. She greets me by punching me on the shoulder hard enough to bruise. Brother, she beams. Commander, I correct. Commander brother, she corrects back. Mary has not changed in 7 years. You're going to do recon, she tells me, unrolling a map across a crate. Beyond Zone 13 is Beastman territory. We need to know how many of them there are, why they're attacking, who's behind it. Behind it? Beastmen don't usually coordinate this well, she says. Someone is organizing them. Someone. In my previous life, I never made it this far south. I died before I ever saw a beastman. Now I'm going to be looking them in the eye. I leave the camp with a small detachment. Mesa is on the team. Mary insisted on it for reasons she will not explain. Mesa does not look thrilled. Belop is also on the team. Belop looks like he is going to cry. We trek for 2 days through snow up to our knees. On the third night, we find the first sign of beastmen. Tracks, big ones, bigger than they should be. Battle tribe, Mesa whispers, eyeing the prince. The biggest of them, Belop adds, gripping his sword. And then very faintly in the distance, we hear screaming. Not beastman screaming, human screaming. The second squadron, Mesa breathes. They were sent ahead. They're being killed. We run. We run hard, through snow and pines and a wind that bites through cloak and armor. We crest a ridge. And below us, in a clearing, is a slaughter. 20 Runkendell soldiers, dead or dying in the snow. Over them, robed figures wearing masks. Not beastmen, humans. Humans wearing the symbol I recognized the moment I saw it in my carriage 4 years ago. Kinzello. My old friends. The ones who killed me in my sleep last time. Mesa goes pale. Why are they here? She's never seen them before. They're not here for the beastmen, I say slowly. They're here for us. Specifically, I realize, for me. Someone in my family found out I was coming south. Someone hired Kinzello to make sure I didn't come back. Again. Big mistake. Bellup, take Mesa back to camp, I say quietly. What? Mesa hisses. I'm not running. You're not running, you're getting Mary. And what are you doing? I draw Bradamante. Her glow lights up the snow. I'm getting introductions. Jin, go. Bellup, to his credit, grabs Mesa by the elbow and runs. Mesa shouts something at me as he drags her off. I don't catch it. I'm already moving. Down the ridge. Into the clearing. Onto the closest masked figure. Bradamante slides through his armor like he wasn't wearing any. He doesn't even have time to scream. The other Kinzello turn. There are 8 of them, all masked, all armed. Runkendell, one of them snarls. You came alone? I came with Bradamante, I say. That counts. They attack together. This is the part where I should explain how I fight. I don't fight like a Runkendell. Runkendells fight with bloodline magic. Big, sweeping strikes, shock and awe. I fight like Cheon Do-woon. Cheon Do-woon was a Korean street swordsman in another life in another world. He learned the sword by accident. He fought dirty. He survived by being unpredictable. And now Cheon Do-woon's instincts are wearing a Runkendell body, wielding Bradamante, fueled by Solderette, taught by Murakon. It is not, technically, a fair fight. The first Kinzello swings high. I duck low and cut his leg out from under him. The second tries to flank. I let him think he's flanking, then pivot through Solderet's shadow and emerge behind him. Bradamante exits his rib cage in a clean arc. The third unleashes a torrent of fire from his palm. Zipple magic. I freeze it midair with a single gesture and shatter it into his face. 3 down in under 10 seconds. The remaining 5 back off. "That's not a kid," one of them whispers. "That's a monster." The biggest one, the leader, lowers his hood. Scarred face, dark skin, a grin that I have seen exactly once before. My memory does a small, ugly somersault. This is the man who, in my previous life, walked into my bedroom and stabbed me through the chest while I slept. I have never seen his face before, and yet I recognize him. Bone-deep recognition. "You!" I whisper. "Boy," he calls out, "who taught you to fight like that?" I take a slow breath. I let Solderette wake all the way up. Black flame curls off my shoulders. My eyes go entirely dark. "You did," I tell him. "What?" he asks. "In another life," I say. "You taught me what it costs to be careless." And I burn the entire clearing to the ground. The fire is not normal fire. It's shadow fire. Solderette's gift. It eats armor. It eats wood. It eats Kinzello. It does not eat me. It does not eat Bradamante. It does not eat the snow. Oddly, the snow stays where it is, because Solderette's flame is selective about who it forgives. When the smoke clears, I am the only thing standing. 8. Kinzello, 8 masked grave markers in the snow, and the scarred leader, on his knees, holding his stump of an arm. He looks up at me. "What are you?" he gasps. I crouch down in front of him. "Who hired you?" I ask. He shakes his head, panting. "I'll tell you," he whispers. "Then tell me." "Kinzello," he says. "That's the name of your organization." I reply. "I want the name of the family member who paid you." He swallows. He looks past my shoulder, and his eyes flicker, just briefly, in the direction of Runkendel's main estate. "They'll kill me if I say," he whispers. "I will kill you if you don't," I say. "Spare me." I think about it. I really do. I think about what my father would do. I think about what Mary would do. I think about what Murakhan would do. Mostly I think about what I would have done in my previous life. "In another life," I tell him, "you whispered sleep well, disgrace over my body. You walked out without checking if I was dead. You did not spare me." He stares. "I have no idea what you're talking about." "I know," I say. "That's the worst part." I stand. Bradamante glows softly in my hand. I do not give him a slow death. I give him a clean one. It is more than he gave me. I sheathe Bradamante. I walk back through the snow toward camp. Mesa and Bellup are already returning with Mary's reinforcements. Mary takes one look at the burned clearing, one look at me, soaked in shadow and blood, and she starts laughing. Of course she does. "Brother," she says, wiping her eyes. "Brother, I told them you were the interesting one." Mesa is staring at me, not with hate this time, with something else, something newer, fear, maybe, or maybe the beginning of respect. Either one works for me. We march the bodies back to camp. We send the prisoners we have to Mary's interrogators, and by morning we have a name. Not the family member who paid Kinzello, not yet. But the next link in the chain, a man called Bishkel Ibriano. He works under a name I have heard exactly once before. Boubare Gaston. Boubare Gaston was, in the history books, an ancient enemy of the Runkendel family, a shapeshifter, a perfect transformer, the one creature even dragons feared. He was supposed to be dead. He is not evidently dead. He is evidently working with someone inside my own family. Boubare wants the Runkendel succession decided before father chooses an heir, Mary tells me, pacing in her tent. "Why?" I ask. "Old prophecy, something about a dragon defeating a giant." "What kind of giant?" Mary stops pacing. She looks at me. "Boubare Gaston," she says slowly, "is the giant. And the dragon in the prophecy is rumored to be Murakhan." Murakhan, lounging on a chair in cat form, opens one eye lazily. "Yes," he confirms. "I have an old grudge with Boubare." Of course he does. Every dragon has a giant, every god has a rival, and my entire life has just been roped into a 1,000-year-old grudge match. Lovely. Mary places her hand on my shoulder. "You're going home, Jin." "What?" "To father's estate. There's a gala in 3 weeks. Every noble house will be there, including everyone in our family. And the one who hired Kinzello." She squeezes my shoulder. "You'll smile at them, Jin. You'll dance with them. You'll drink their wine. And then, with Murakhan's help, you'll figure out which one of our siblings tried to kill you." "And then?" "Then," she says, smiling that mad grin of hers, "you do whatever you want with them." I nod. Mesa, sitting in the corner of the tent, suddenly clears her throat. "I'm going with him." Mary's eyebrows go up. Are you? He needs someone who can actually fight at his side instead of nap on his shoulder. Murakon Cat hisses with great dignity. I look at Mesa. She does not look at me, just at her own hands. Okay, I say. Okay? She echoes. Okay. Why are you saying okay? Because we're going to be friends now, I tell her. Sorry, it's overdue. Mesa stares at me for a long second. Then she rolls her eyes so hard I worry for her optic nerves. Idiot, she says. Friend idiot, I correct. Mary, behind us, is laughing again. 3 days later, we arrive at the main estate. The gala is in 19 days. Murakon, in human form again, takes one look at the estate gates and sighs deeply. I hated this castle the first time I was here, he announces. When were you here the first time? When your great-great-great-great-grandfather chained me under it. Right, yes, that. Inside, the staff bows. Inside, the siblings are absent, suspiciously absent. Inside, Pedro, the second-place housekeeper, greets me as if I have always lived here. Pedro is a small, bespectacled man who knows every secret in this estate. Pedro can be bribed with imported chocolate. Pedro is going to be very useful. I head straight to my quarters. I spread out the data Mary's intelligence team gave me. Murakon, draped over the back of my chair, peers down. 11 siblings, 11 possible names, 11 hands that might have signed off on hiring Kinzello. Some I can eliminate immediately. Luna would never. She nearly died saving me 4 years ago. She is loyal. Mary clearly would not. She's the one who flagged this. Some are less obvious. Rosa Runkendell, third oldest, is too polite. Too obvious. My eldest brother Dyfus is too proud to outsource his murder. Joshua Runkendell, the current heir presumptive, has the most to lose. Wait, if father intends to replace Joshua as heir, then Joshua has every reason to want me dead. Joshua, I murmur. Murakon flicks his tail. Plausible, he agrees, but too obvious. Most obvious is sometimes most correct. Spoken like someone who has not lived 1,000 years. Spoken like someone who lives in a cat, I shoot back. Murakon considers this an attack on his dignity and naps on my notes for the rest of the evening. Mesa moves into the room next to mine. She and Bellop train with me at dawn every day. Bellop, by some miracle, has stopped looking nauseous. Mesa, by some other miracle, has started smiling at me, only when I'm not looking. But I notice. Every morning, I notice. Murakon claims this is also strategic. I'm not sure I believe him. 2 weeks pass, and then it's the night of the gala. The main hall of Runkendell Estate is decked out like a small kingdom. Crystal chandeliers the size of carriages, tables stacked with food I cannot pronounce, wine that, in my previous life, I was not noble enough to even smell. And every noble family in the kingdom is here, their heads of house, their heirs, their stunningly expensive children, and of course, all 11 of my siblings. I make my entrance in a black coat, tailored to within an inch of its life. Murakon, in human form again, walks 2 steps behind me as my bodyguard. Mesa, technically a Runkendell cadet, technically an invited guest, walks beside me. Her hair is loose. She is wearing something that is not armor for the first time since I have known her. She looks like she might commit a murder if I comment on it. I do not comment on it. I bow to the patriarch first. Father gives me a single nod like I am a tool that has been performing acceptably. Then he releases me to do my actual work tonight. I greet every noble. I drink with every househead. I smile at heirs whose grandfathers in my previous life sneered at me. I dance with 3 noble daughters and 1 very nervous duchess. And I watch. I watch which sibling speaks to which house. I watch which conversations stop when I walk near. I watch which of my brothers and sisters cannot quite meet my eye. Joshua greets me, predictably, with the practiced charm of an heir. Brother, he says, you look well. Brother, I reply, so do you. He smiles. I smile. Neither of us means it. I move on. Diffus does not greet me. He glares from across the room. Rosa offers me a polite hand and a polite smile. 2 other siblings I barely know nod from a respectful distance. And then, about halfway through the evening, I feel something cold on my back. Not literal cold, the kind of cold that means someone has been staring at me for too long. I turn slowly. And there she is, my sister, just not the one I expected. White hair pulled into a loose tail, black gala dress, a grin like a cat that has spotted a mouse. "Hello, little brother," she says. "Hello, big sister," I reply. "Are you having fun?" "Define fun." She laughs. Then she leans in close and her voice drops to almost a whisper. "I want to spar with you." I take half a second to look at her. She is older, 20-something, strong, and her eyes have the same hunger father gets when he's measuring something. "Here?" I ask. "At the gala?" "Now," she answers. "That's not a request, is it?" Read your room, little brother. Around us the music does not stop, but the nobles closest to us are starting to notice. And one by one, they are stepping back. Father, on his throne at the back of the hall, raises a single finger, permission. Granted. Of course, this was always part of his evening's entertainment. A guard rushes up and hands me Bradamante. I had not asked for her. Apparently Father had. I draw. My sister steps back into the open floor, summoning ice into her palm. "This is myriad ice blades," she says. "My family magic. Try to keep up. Come at me," I tell her. She does. Ice blades the size of my forearm shoot from her palm in a fan. I deflect 3, dodge 2, cut 1 in half. She is fast. Faster than Mesa, faster than the Kinzello leader, faster than anyone I've fought in this life. Murakhan, watching from the side, has put down his wine glass. "Concentrate," he tells me silently. I'm concentrating. The hall has cleared into a circle. Bellup is somewhere on the edge of the crowd, white as a sheet. Misa is at the front of the circle, sword drawn, ready to step in if I fall. I will not fall. My sister sends another wave of ice blades. I cut through them. She sends a wave from a different angle. I cut through those too, and then I see her plan. She's not trying to hit me with the blades. She's funneling them around me, building a cage of ice in midair. "Genius," Murakhan murmurs internally. "You're trapped." I noticed. Don't panic. I noticed that too. The cage closes around me, hundreds of ice blades suspended 6 inches from my skin. And she smiles. "Yield!" she calls out. I close my eyes, and I let Soldered open all the way up. Black fire pours out of me in a single pulse. Every ice blade in the cage shatters at once. Glass rain, frost mist, steam, and before the smoke clears, I am inside her guard. Bradamante is at her throat. She freezes. Then she smiles. Then she drops to one knee. "You win," she says simply. And the hall around us erupts. Some nobles are cheering. Some are gasping. Some are quietly recalculating the seating chart for next year's gala. I sheathe Bradamante. I offer my hand to my sister. She takes it. She stands. And then, in front of every noble in the kingdom, she touches my face. It is a strange, soft, almost sad gesture. "Be careful," she whispers, so only I can hear. "It's not who you think it is." "Who?" I whisper back. She steps away. She waves to the crowd. She lifts a flute of champagne off a passing tray and grins like she has not just been beaten in front of everyone. Then, very quietly, she leans toward me one more time. "See you tomorrow," she says, and she walks away into the crowd like a queen. Murakhan appears at my elbow. "Did you catch that?" I ask quietly. "I did," he says. "What did she mean, 'it's not who you think it is'?" "It means," Murakhan says, "that Joshua is not the answer." "You think she knows who is?" "I think she knows. I think she will not say. Sisters in this family rarely say." Lovely. I am turning to find Mesa when I see it, on the edge of the crowd, half hidden behind a marble pillar, a bespectacled man. Pedro? No, not Pedro. Pedro is on the other side of the room, polishing a serving plate. This is someone else. Someone with Pedro's exact face. Bubare Gaston, the perfect transformer. Holy hell. He's here, inside the estate, tonight. Murakhan goes very still beside me. "You see him?" I ask. "I see him," he says. "Smell him too." The bespectacled man notices that I notice him. His face does not change. His expression does. A slow, slow grin. And then he turns and he begins walking out of the hall. I do not run. Running across a noble gala would get me killed before I caught him. So I walk. I smile at every noble I pass. I excuse myself to a small lord by tapping my chest and indicating fresh air. I deposit my champagne flute on a side table, and I follow. Murakon trails me one step behind. Mesa, somehow already aware that something is wrong, falls in on my other side. She does not ask. She just falls in. Best partner I have ever had. We turn down a side corridor. The music of the ballroom fades. Marble gives way to wood. The torches grow sparser, and ahead of us, the bespectacled man steps casually around a corner. We follow. 3 corridors, 2 staircases, a door I have never seen before, and then, suddenly, an open chamber. Round, tall, lit by a single chandelier, standing in the center, wearing Pedro's borrowed face like a coat, is Bubare. Beside him, leaning against a pillar, is one of my siblings. Not Joshua, not Diffus, not Rosa, not the white-haired sister I just defeated, not Mary or Luna, someone I have only nodded to in passing, someone who, until tonight, I assumed was harmless, someone holding a small glowing artifact in one hand. Welcome, little brother, they say. My stomach drops, because I know the artifact. I know it from the deepest archives of Murakan's memories. Bubare Gaston, I say, eyes never leaving my sibling, and Runkendel's traitor. Such an ugly word, my sibling replies, smiling. I prefer investor. You hired Kinzello, I tell them. I did. You sent them after a child in a carriage. I did. You sent them after me last time, too, I say. 20 years ago. There is a small, ugly pause. My sibling tilts their head. Last time, they say carefully. You don't remember, I tell them. But I do. They share a glance with Bubare. Bubare smiles wider. Interesting, he murmurs. And then calmly, my sibling raises the artifact. The artifact glows. All around us, the air begins to hum. Mesa instinctively raises her sword. Murakon takes a single step forward, eyes black. Don't, my sibling says, almost gently, or the device activates. What does it do? I ask. It silences Solderette. My stomach drops. Bubare grins. Murakon stops moving. Specifically, my sibling continues, it severs the contract for a brief window, long enough. Long enough for what? Mesa snarls. For me to kill him, my sibling answers. They draw a sword from their hip, a sword glowing with a familiar ugly red light, and the artifact in their other hand pulses. I feel Solderette evaporate from my chest, just like that. The shadow that has lived under my skin since I was 7 years old is suddenly gone. My eyes go from black to brown. My shadow shrinks to its normal size. And for the first time since I made the contract, I am just a 15-year-old kid with a sword. A really good sword, but still, just a sword. Bradamante feels heavier in my hand. Murakon, beside me, has gone pale. Pale, for a 1,000-year-old dragon, is impressive. That artifact, he says quietly, should not exist. And yet, Bubare purrs. My sibling raises their sword. They look at me with what is, somehow, almost regret. You should not have grown up, Jin, they say. Yeah, I answer, gripping Bradamante harder. You should not have hired Kinzello. Murakon tells me, after the chaos, that he watched the whole thing through a crack in the storage door. He says he was 3 seconds away from intervening. He says also that I am unhinged. He means it as a compliment. You let them touch you, he says that night. Why? Because in my previous life, they touched me much worse, I answer. And I let them. And this time I wanted them to remember what it felt like just before everything went wrong for them. Murakon considers this. You're going to be a problem, Jin Runkendel. That's the plan. Inside the secret storage, there are also other things. Things older than my family. A crown chained to a wall, a sword that whispers names if you stand close enough. A book that, when I touch it, tries to bite me. Do not open that book, Murakon warns from the pod. Got it. No biting books. I am serious. The last person to open that book is currently a tree in the western forest. A whole tree? A whole tree? Still alive, still screaming. I quietly walk away from the book. I make a note. No books. After Father walks back upstairs, I stand in the empty hall for a long time. The dais looks much taller from below than it did when I was performing. My armor is too big for my shoulders. My boots squeak on the marble. Dyphus walks past me without a word. Joshua, my second oldest brother, gives me a long, slow look as he leaves. He has the face of a man recalculating his life. I file that look away under important. Rosa, leaving last, touches my shoulder briefly. "Welcome to the snake pit, little brother," she murmurs. She has the practiced softness of someone who hides daggers in her sleeves. I file her under important and possibly dangerous. Then I'm alone in the hall. "Wait," I tell Luna, as she's reaching the door of my study. She pauses. "Why are you doing this?" I ask. "You stepped out of the succession war." Luna does not turn around. Her hand rests on the doorframe. "Because," she says quietly, "someone has to be loyal in this family. And you chose me. You're the only one who hasn't tried to kill anyone else yet." "Yet?" I repeat. She allows herself a small, bitter smile. "Yet." Murakhan, as we walk through the gates of the main estate, makes one more observation. "Your father's wine cellar," he says quietly, "is 2 floors under the throne room." "How do you know?" "Because I watched him store the bottles he stole from my hoard 1,000 years ago." "You had a wine hoard?" "I had everything. I am a dragon." "Right, sorry. Wake me when we are stealing it back." In the months I spend learning the politics of the main estate, Bellot becomes my unofficial information broker. He hears things in the dining halls. He hears who is hosting whom for tea, who is dueling whom on the back lawns, and he reports everything to me in exchange for letting him hide behind me when nobles glare. It's a fair deal. Mesa, meanwhile, has decided that hating me is too tiring. Now she just tolerates me, aggressively. Every morning she swings harder at me in training. Every evening she eats her dinner farther from me. It is somehow progress. Murakhan watches all of this with amusement and contributes nothing helpful. Mary's camp is on the very edge of the snow line. Tents and torches and the dull sound of grindstones working through the night. Soldiers nod to me as I walk through. Some salute, some stare. The youngest Runkindel has a reputation by now. Mary's tent is the biggest. Mary's tent also smells faintly of plums and gunpowder, which is exactly correct. "Brother," she calls again as I duck inside. "Commander, brother," I correct. "Brother, commander." I should say something before we get further about what Salderate's fire actually does. It is not heat, it is not flame, as you would know it. It is the absence of light given the shape of fire. When it touches a Canzello hood, the cloth doesn't burn. It simply ceases to be present. When it touches steel, the steel forgets how to be steel. When it touches grass, the grass quietly chooses not to exist. My nanny, if she could see me right now, would faint and then scold me. Murakhan, watching from a tree branch in cat form, has been quietly purring for the last 6 minutes. Apparently, watching me kill people is what cats consider relaxing. On the night before the gala, I sit in front of a mirror for the first time as the cadet I have become. Bradamante is on my hip. Murakhan cat is on my pillow. Mesa, in the next room, is being yelled at by tailors about hemlines. I look at my reflection, 15 years old. Blue eyes, dark hair, the faint outline of an old scar on my chin no one but me remembers. In my previous life, on the night before the gala that did not happen because I died first, I would have been crying alone in a stable. In this life, I am in a marble suite, fitted into a black coat with a dragon napping behind me. I look at the boy in the mirror. He looks like trouble. Good. "You are going to be the next patriarch," my white-haired sister tells me, very quietly, before she vanishes into the crowd. I stare at her back. "No, I'm not," I want to say. "Yes, you are," Murakhan murmurs at my elbow. "They've all just decided." Around me, the gala continues like nothing has happened. Nobles laughing, music swelling, champagne pouring. Behind every smile, I can feel 1,000 small calculations being made, marriage proposals being rewritten in midair, alliances being quietly upgraded or quietly knifed, and one sibling, somewhere in this hall, deciding I need to die before the night is over. Murakhan tries to step forward. The artifact pulses harder. "Stay," Bubare warns gently, his Pedro face grinning. "If you move, the boy loses his shadow forever." Murakhan stays. Murakhan is also, I notice, looking at the artifact as if memorizing it. That in itself is a small reassurance. My sibling raises their sword higher. They lunge, and the screen of my life cuts to black just as their red blade arcs toward my chest. Salderette silent, Murakhan frozen, Mesa screaming, Bradamante rising to meet it. This is the part where I find out if a Runkindel cadet, alone, without a god, can survive a brother who already killed him once. This is the part where my new life either ends or finally begins, to be continued.